You know, we're at a really crucial moment in tackling climate change because on the one hand, we can see every day more urgently how important it is to deal with the rise in temperatures, the rise in sea level, and the extremely high frequency of weather events which disrupt people's lives. But we must tackle those problems without losing sight of the development imperative of reducing poverty, increasing human development, and creating more integrated, holistic societies. Well, what a great question, because actually the argument isn't one, and all over the world we see policy reversals as people have set up great climate change policies and have had to turn them back because of the political pressure. So I think there are 5 things we need to do. The first is we need to convince the public and convince all the stakeholders using simple language. Some people like stories, some people like pictures, some people like facts and figures, and we need to combine all those, and we need to be able to tell a positive message. And some politicians are very good at that, and some find it really difficult. The second lesson is we need to talk about all the benefits of acting on climate change that are not necessarily directly linked to climate change, but maybe. We're going to avoid disasters. That's a real benefit to people whose houses are being flooded. We are going to find co-benefits. For example, we're going to reduce traffic congestion or air pollution. We're going to find new industries and new jobs in the green economy and that kind of thing. The third element in the argument, whenever you introduce policies like that, you put a tax on carbon or you introduce regulations about high building standards, there may be winners, but there will also be losers. And one of the things we have to do is to compensate the losers, help them in the transition, and that means giving incentives to industries to use new technology. Sometimes it means giving people help with higher energy bills who can't afford to pay very high bills. And we need generally to make sure that we manage a transition which doesn't leave lots of people wailing at the roadside and complaining about the policies that we're doing. We also need to do this long term. So the fourth lesson is that we need to make sure that we have a strong political consensus across political parties that will guarantee long-term incentives. You know, big energy companies aren't going to invest in renewable technology if in 5 years' time they think all the incentives and the subsidies are going to be reversed. They need 25-year horizons before they make these big investments. So how do we build that consensus with parliaments, all-party parliamentary groups, special commissions of inquiry, independent climate change commissions which then provide an independent scientific basis for policy and work with politicians to provide that long-term continuity? So that's 4. And 5, plans are wonderful in principle, but actually what matters is action. And sometimes we see in governments across the world that they're wonderful at producing plans, but they can't deliver. A relentless focus on implementation. What are we trying to do day by day? How are we getting there? Now, put all that together, those 5 things, telling a simple story, making sure that we talk about the positive benefits of transformational change, trying to help the transition work for the losers as well as the winners, making sure that we have a political consensus and also focusing on implementation. Put those together and we can really make a difference, I think, on climate change. But if we don't, we're going to go backwards. And I'm optimistic about what we can do, but I'm very struck by something that was said by Madeleine Albright, US Secretary of State, who said, yes, I'm optimistic, but you know what? I worry a lot as well. And I think we need to be optimistic worriers. That's our future.